The Galactic Council chamber hung like a perfect crystal sphere in orbit around Tau Ceti. Within its transparent walls, representatives from 100 star systems arranged themselves in concentric rings of hovering platforms, each situated according to their civilization's technological development index. Earth's delegation sat in the outermost ring. Ambassador Michael Harlow stood alone on humanity's platform, hands clasped behind his back, face impassive as he stared through the crystalline floor at the blue-green planet below. Around him, the various alien representatives conversed in a cacophony of translated chatter, occasionally casting dismissive glances toward the human. High Arbiter Zavrex, a 12-foot-tall being with iridescent scales that rippled with bioluminescent patterns, tapped a resonant staff against the central platform. The chamber fell silent. "This council recognizes the petition from Sol System," Zavrex announced, voice booming through translation fields. "Though we remind a human delegation that bringing matters of local defense to the Galactic Council is considered quaint." A ripple of chittering laughter swept through the chamber. Michael's expression remained unchanged. "The Drakari incursions into our outer system have increased. We've documented 27 violations of territorial boundaries established by this very council." From a middle ring, Governor Drek of the Drakari Ascendancy rose, his 4 sets of arms gesturing dismissively. "The humans misunderstand navigational drift. Our harvest vessels merely pass through their system en route to more productive regions. 16 of our outposts have been destroyed," Michael replied, his voice steady. "Over 300 colonists killed. Perhaps if humans built structures capable of withstanding standard radiation signatures from passing ships, there would be no issue." And Drek responded, mandibles clicking in what the translation field identified as amusement. Michael removed a small projector from his pocket, activating it to display holographic images of ruined stations and charred bodies. This was not navigational drift. High Arbiter Zorex waved a clawed hand through the projection, dispersing it. "The Council has reviewed your evidence and finds it inconclusive. Humans have always been prone to dramatic interpretation of standard interstellar phenomena. Then we request defensive technology assistance," Michael said, "as is our right under Article 7 of the Membership Charter." The chamber erupted in overlapping translations of derision. "The human wants weapons," cried a gelatinous representative from the middle rings. "They'd destroy themselves within days," another voice called out. Zabrax raised all 4 hands for silence. "Ambassador Harlow, your species has been part of this council for merely 30 Earth years. The Drakari have been members for 9,000. Your civilization barely managed to reach your own moon before we found you." Michael's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "The Council's decision is to deny weapons assistance," Zabrax continued. "Instead, we offer relocation assistance for your outer colonies. The inner system should be adequate for your needs." Governor Drek's translator conveyed a sound like satisfied purring. The Council moved on to other matters, relegating Earth's complaint to the archived records. Michael remained standing, silent and still, until the session adjourned 3 hours later. In the private chamber assigned to Earth's delegation, Michael stood before a secure quantum communicator. "They dismissed us." Again, he reported to the shadowy figures on the other end. "As expected," replied Admiral Sarah Winters, her silver hair catching the dim light, and the Drakari, arrogant, convinced of their superiority. "They've been emboldened by the Council's indifference." "Perfect," said a deeper voice off-screen. "Authorize Protocol Lazarus." Michael's stoic facade cracked slightly, eyes widening. "Sir, are you certain?" "Once initiated, the decision is unanimous," Admiral Winters interrupted. "The charade has gone on long enough." Michael nodded slowly. "How soon?" "The assets are already in position. They've been there for 12 years. Michael took a deep breath. "I'll inform the Council of our withdrawal from the proceedings." "No," said the deep voice. "Maintain your position. We want them all there to witness it." The next day, as Governor Drek droned on about expanded Drakari mining rights, Michael Harlow quietly placed a small cube on his platform console. The device pulsed once with a soft blue light. Immediately, every view screen in the chamber flickered to life, showing thousands of objects suddenly decloaking throughout the Tau Ceti system. Massive vessels of an architectural design no alien had ever witnessed, silently taking position around the council sphere. The council chamber erupted in chaos. "Point of order," Michael announced, his voice cutting through the pandemonium. "Earth would like to renegotiate our territorial boundaries." The council chamber hung suspended in starlight, now surrounded by the massive silhouettes of Earth vessels, their angular obsidian hulls absorbing rather than reflecting light. Silent sentinels waiting in perfect formation. Inside, chaos reigned. High Arbiter Zorex slammed his resonant staff against the platform repeatedly, the crystal floor beneath him cracking under the force. "Order! I demand order!" The various species translation fields created a discordant symphony of panic and outrage. Governor Drek pushed through the crowd toward Michael Harlow, his multiple limbs trembling with rage. "What deception is this?" he hissed, mandibles clicking violently. "Those vessels bear no resemblance to human design capabilities." Michael looked up from his console, the blue light from the small cube casting eerie shadows across his face. "They wouldn't," he replied calmly. "You've only seen what we wanted you to see." Admiral Sarah Winter stood on the bridge of the FS Prometheus, the flagship of Earth's Sixth Fleet. Through the panoramic viewport, the crystalline council sphere looked like a fragile ornament against the void. "Status report," she ordered. "All systems operational, Admiral," her executive officer responded. "Quantum entanglement network stable. 97% of our vessels have completed decloaking. The Council's defensive grid has been neutralized." A younger officer approached, his nervousness evident. "Admiral, they're hailing us on all frequencies." "Let them wait," Sarah replied, checking her timepiece. "Director Calloway should be arriving at Phase 2 coordinates now." 12 light-years away, Director James Calloway stood in the control center of humanity's most closely guarded secret, Vault Omega. Carved into the core of a rogue planet drifting in interstellar darkness, the facility extended miles in every direction. "The council session is being broadcast to all stations," his assistant reported. Calloway nodded, surveying the cavernous chamber where thousands of technicians worked at various stations. The chamber's center featured an artifact that defied conventional understanding, a pulsing geometric structure neither fully material nor energy. "Activate the beacon," he ordered. Back in the council chamber, Zobrex finally established a semblance of order. "Ambassador Harlow," he said, voice trembling slightly beneath the veneer of authority, "explain this unauthorized military presence immediately." Michael stepped forward to the edge of his platform. "There is nothing to explain. High Arbiter, Earth is exercising its right to defend its interests. As we've attempted to do through diplomatic channels for 20 years, this display changes nothing," Governor Drek interjected, though his mandibles clicked with uncertainty. "The Drakari Ascendancy has technologies you cannot imagine." "Actually," Michael interrupted, "we can imagine quite well. Your graviton cascade drives, your phase shift weaponry, your neural interface systems." He paused. "Primitive, by our standards." The chamber fell silent. Human arrogance. A counselor from the inner rings shouted, breaking the silence. "Even with these vessels, you remain outnumbered 1,000 to 1 across the galaxy." Michael smiled for the first time. Numbers have never been the decisive factor in conflicts. Knowledge. On planets throughout Drakari space, critical systems began failing simultaneously. Power grids collapsed, communication networks dissolved into static, orbital stations drifted off course as gravity stabilizers malfunctioned. In the Drakari capital, Supreme Commander Necatur stared in disbelief at emergency reports flooding in from across their territory. "How?" he demanded of his chief technologist. "How is this happening?" "We don't know," came the terrified response. "It's as if our technology is being turned against us." In the council chamber, Representatives' personal devices began chirping with emergency alerts from their respective systems. Faces contorted with confusion and fear as they received reports of widespread failures. Zorax staggered backward. "What have you done?" "Nothing," Michael replied, yet a holographic projection appeared above the central platform. A three-dimensional map of the galaxy with thousands of points illuminated in blue. Earth vessels, suddenly revealed across every sector of known space. "For centuries we studied you from afar," Michael continued. "When you finally discovered us, we played the part expected of us, the primitive species grateful for guidance. Meanwhile, we embedded systems within your systems, quantum-entangled observers in every piece of technology you generously provided." Governor Drek lunged forward. "This is an act of war." "No," Michael corrected. "This is a demonstration. Had we wanted war, you would already be extinct." The chamber trembled as the Council's defensive systems attempted to activate, only to power down immediately. 300 years ago, Michael continued, our archaeologists discovered something beneath Earth's surface. Records of a civilization that came before, a civilization that seeded this galaxy before retreating into the darkness between stars. The cube on Michael's console pulsed again, projecting ancient symbols that matched architectural elements in the council chamber itself. "We are not the newcomers here," Michael said softly. "We are the returning children of those who built all of this before your species took their first breaths." A new alert sounded throughout the chamber. On every screen, a massive energy signature appeared at the edge of the system. A swirling vortex of light as another, far larger human fleet emerged from what appeared to be a self-generated wormhole. "Now," Michael announced, "shall we discuss those territorial boundaries again?" The council chamber trembled as the massive wormhole stabilized. The alien representatives pressed against the crystal walls, watching as the new human fleet arranged itself in a perfect geometric pattern, a living constellation against the void. Michael Harlow stood motionless on his platform, his silhouette backlit by the blue glow of ancient symbols projected around him. The chamber had fallen into a stunned silence broken only by the occasional warning chime of failing systems. High Arbiter Zobrax approached Michael's platform, his once imposing frame now diminished by understanding. What are you truly?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Michael's eyes reflected the swirling energies of the wormhole. "We are the custodians, the last inheritors." The chamber's main view screen activated, showing Director Calloway standing before the pulsing geometric artifact in Vault Omega. The artifact's rhythmic fluctuations accelerated. "What you are witnessing," Michael continued, "is the awakening of the archive. The complete technological and historical record of the precursors, those you've mythologized as the first ones." Governor Drek pushed forward. "Impossible. The first ones vanished 1,000,000 years ago." "They didn't vanish," Michael replied. "They made a choice." Admiral Winters stood on her bridge as technicians prepared the final sequence. The wormhole behind her fleet pulsed with increasing intensity, its edges taking on fractal patterns that defied conventional physics. "Synchronization at 98%, her science officer reported. The archive is responding." Sarah nodded, her expression solemn. "Begin the revelation protocol." In the council chamber, the central platform suddenly illuminated with a pillar of light. Within it materialized a translucent figure with features that seemed both alien and strangely familiar. Humanoid yet more elegant, with eyes that contained galaxies. "A direct neural projection from the archive," Michael explained, as the council representatives recoiled in shock. "The first in 1,000,000 years." The figure spoke, its voice resonating in the mind rather than the air. "When the stars were young, we seeded 1,000 worlds, created vessels for consciousness, organic forms suited to different environments. We were many races, but one civilization." Images flooded the chamber. Ancient Earth, not primitive, but gleaming with technology beyond anything the council had ever witnessed. Cities that merged seamlessly with mountains and oceans. vessels that traveled between stars as easily as thought. Then came the divergence. Some believed we had achieved perfection and should preserve it eternally. Others sought continued evolution, even at the cost of stability. The images shifted to show a devastating conflict that spanned galaxies. In the end, both sides lost. The preservationists retreated beyond the galactic rim. The evolutionists chose a radical path to begin again, surrendering their technology and knowledge, preserving it in vaults scattered across the cosmos. They chose to experience evolution anew, to rediscover the universe with fresh eyes. Michael stepped forward. Earth was one such vault. We were not meant to access it until we'd evolved enough to understand its responsibility. But when your harvester ships began destroying our outposts, they damaged the containment systems. The projection showed massive structures beneath Earth's surface awakening, interfacing with human consciousness. We are both the children and the ancestors, Michael said. Human, yet carrying the legacy of those who came before, who created all of us. Governor Dreck's mandibles trembled. Yes, Michael answered. Every species in this council carries genetic markers of precursor design. We are all their children. Some branches of the family simply forgot. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, ancient structures long dismissed as natural formations began to glow with the same blue light as the symbols in the council chamber. In Vault Omega, Director Calloway watched as the geometric artifact expanded, revealing itself as a three-dimensional key. It's time, he said. In the council chamber, the holographic precursor raised its arms, and the chamber's very structure began to transform, revealing itself as something far older and more complex than the council had known. The vaults were never meant to remain closed forever, the entity said. They were meant to be opened when the children were ready to become stewards once more. High Arbiter Zybrax fell to his knees. We have been unworthy. Not unworthy, Michael said, surprising the chamber by helping Zybrax to his feet. Simply unaware. What matters is what we choose now. The wormhole expanded, revealing not another fleet but a glimpse of something beyond comprehension. A network of light connecting distant galaxies. This isn't about dominance, Michael said. The precursors left because they discovered something vast and terrible approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Something that hunts advanced civilizations. Zybrax's eyes widened. And now it hunts us. Yes, Michael confirmed. But together we might stand a chance. He extended his hand to the High Arbiter. Around them, the ancient chamber continued its transformation, revealing navigational systems and defenses built into the very structure of reality. The archive contains knowledge beyond imagining, Michael said. But knowledge without wisdom is meaningless. Will you join us? Not as subordinates, but as true equals in the defense of all life. Governor Dreck moved forward hesitantly. After our treatment of humans, you would still offer alliance. We were all children once, Michael replied. Now it's time to grow up together. As alien hands of all forms reached toward Michael's outstretched palm, the wormhole pulsed once more. Within its depths, something ancient stirred. Watching, waiting. The true test was just beginning.